All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division where a Hall of Famer has something to say about Errol Spence Jr., Keith Thurman, the welterweight division, and what Shane Mosley has to say only leads me to the conclusion that, there's not just fanboyism going on amongst boxing fans, but also amongst Hall of Fame level fighters. Man, I can't believe Shane Mosley let out of his mouth what he let out of his mouth. But let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Errol Spence Jr. had an assessment made of him in his upcoming fight with Keith Thurman, also with Errol's Terrence Crawford from Shane Mosley. That just boggles the mind, but at the same time, really does explain something I think is important for people to realize when they're listening to predictions being made by Hall of Fame fighters. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, thank you to everybody that is a longtime supporter, subscriber, and supporter to the channel. Thank you guys for your support in the live streams and in these videos. But let's get into this. Okay, so Shane Mosley is a former multi-divisional champion, was one of the best lightweights that I've seen in my time watching boxing. Absolute machine at lightweight, moves up to 147 pounds, beats Oscar De La Hoya twice, has some unexpected losses in his career, like the ones that came to Vernon Forrest, the Viper, rest in peace, former welterweight champion that passed away many years ago now. But Shane Mosley, definitely one of my one of my favorite fighters. Also had a very, very good fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and is the guy that had, I think, in all of Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s career, with the exception of maybe Jose Luis Castillo, had the best chance of beating Floyd Mayweather Jr. when he hurt him with two really, really big shots in their fight. But also obviously fought Canelo Alvarez as well in his later years. Just a very, very solid, very, very, very solid fighter. However, when he was asked his opinion about the Errol Spence Jr. versus Keith Thurman fight and also the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford fight, he said some things that were really, really interesting to me. But once again, reminded me that when guys who are Hall of Famers make predictions on these fights, sometimes you can take them with a grain of salt because it's obvious like they're really not watching these guys fight. They're just they may see him fight every once in a while, but some of these guys that are fighters are not people that really, watch the sport a lot, other than if they're training somebody or some special occasion. They just kind of must be doing their own thing, because that's the only way I can understand what Shane Mosley had to say about Errol Spence. And let me tell you what it was. Take the Terrence Crawford fight first. He says something about, he was asked, who do you think wins the Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence fight? And Shane Mosley says, well, I was leaning towards Errol Spence Jr. But then I met Terrence Crawford personally, got to know him a little bit better, and I can see what a really good competitor that he is, how he really doesn't like to lose. And now that that's the fact, I'm going to lean towards Terrence Crawford. Then he says, after that, the thing he likes about Terrence Crawford is he's aggressive. He goes to get you. He's really looking for the knockout. And the problem that he has with Errol Spence Jr. is that Errol Spence Jr. is too tentative. That Errol Spence Jr., he's longer, he's taller, he can keep, he keeps people at range, but he's just not He's just not aggressive enough. I'm putting the word aggressive in there because if you say the man is too tentative, hey, that's the opposite of aggression. But so the man is not aggressive enough, for Terrence Crawford, right? And then talks about Errol Spence Jr. and Keith Thurman. And says, well, I would take Errol Spence Jr. on it, fight, over Keith Thurman. But, they've both been inactive. They both really haven't been very aggressive in the ring. And right there, I was like, okay, man. First of all, if you've ever seen Errol Spence Jr. actually in a fight, there's no way in the world you're going to say that man is tentative. And there's no way in the world you're going to say that he is not aggressive. And in fact, if you any evaluation of an Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford fight that includes Terrence Crawford hunting down Errol Spence while Errol Spence Jr. is trying to keep Terrence Crawford at range is beyond it's just flat out ridiculous. And to boot, the idea that the thing that changes your mind would be the fact that you hung out with one guy and that guy seems to be very competitive. Now, I would say to Shane Mosley, have you ever hung out with Errol Spence? Right? Do you know if he is very competitive? Do you know if he's somebody that just doesn't like to lose? Right? If you look at what these guys have said and what they've done over the last several years, you would swear that it was Errol that is the more aggressive one in picking the people that he's going to fight and the more aggressive in his actual manner of fighting. Where Terrence Crawford is more apt to sit back, but will wind up looking for a big shot and will be aggressive with a big shot to try to get a guy to try to get a guy out of there. But the idea that he's more aggressive than Errol Spence Jr. just come on, man. And you to get that off of just hanging out with him, that's kind of like what Sugar Ray Leonard said. The name said, because you had Sugar Shane Mosley and you got Sugar Ray Leonard before that. And Sugar Ray Leonard was like, when he was asked about Errol versus Mikey, who do you think is going to win? He said, well, give me, I'll take Mikey. Why? Because it's just Mikey. You know what I mean? Just where are you guys getting this from, man? And I'm telling you, this is coming from somebody, if you paid attention to my channel, I don't miss a lot of fight calls, man. I really, really do not. When something is evident, like really, really obvious between the two fighters, man, 99 out of 100 times I'm going to get it right. Unless something, just kind of off happens, like a guy gets hurt or something like that. But just Shane Mosley's take on that particular situation is just mind-boggling to me, except for the fact that you continually see that. Now, I think one thing that could explain it is like some of the predictions done by Roy Jones Jr., where Roy Jones will say, look, man, I haven't actually sat down. Like, I've watched this guy fight more than I've watched that guy fight. I've actually sat, and when they say they're watching, I'm talking about they sitting down. I think they're referring to sitting down at ringside, looking at them fight in an actual ring, because that's the majority of the way the viewpoints that professional boxers actually see fights. It is the ones that they're actually in the gym, the ones in the gyms that they're watching, the cards that they actually go to that they're fighting under. That they're fighting on. I have to believe those are really when they're saying, okay, I haven't seen them. So if you have a guy like Shane Mosley, who is prone to go to Golden Boy fights or top rank fights, and you have Roy Jones Jr. that was over at HBO, I just think that's why you get some of the viewpoints you get off guys. But when guys are like consistently watching fights that are like on Showtime or on Fox, those guys tend to have different viewpoints, right? But then you also have guys like James Toney who'll just say something that's completely wild, like Canelo Alvarez is trash. That man, he cracked me up with that, and that's for another video. But anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest because, man, come on, man. That is just absolutely ridiculous that Errol is not aggressive enough for that Errol and Keith Thurman is going to be a fight where they're just sitting on the outside looking to keep each other at range. And that's ridiculous. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.